Good morning, students. Welcome to Alphos e-learning classes. So, in the last class, we had a discussion about introduction of economics. That is the first unit. In that, we have seen the meaning and definitions of economics. As we have seen the meaning, that is oikos and nomenes, that is home management. So, that we covered, and we have seen 4 definitions. Those are wealth definition, welfare, scarcity and growth. In that 2 definitions we discussed very clearly. First one is wealth definition given in 1776 by Adam Smith, an inquiry into the nature and causes of wealth of nations. Okay, he given more importance to wealth. That we have seen already. And the second one, we have seen welfare definition given in 1890 by Alfred Marshall in his Principles of Economics, giving more priority to welfare than wealth. And wealth is only a means, a resource to satisfy human wants. That is welfare of societies. So that is being discussed by Alfred Marshall. Alfred Marshall criticized Adam Smith for saying or giving too much of importance to wealth. In the same way, in the last class, we have seen Lionel Robbins criticizing Alfred Marshall for giving importance to welfare in a normative sense. He was setting the standards, this supposed to be discussed, this not to be discussed, certain things are not part of economics, etc., etc. In this recap, we have seen certain points which belongs to economics, particularly definitions, what we studied in the previous class. Okay, now we are going to discuss 2 more definitions which are very important. Already I told you why those many definitions are there. As the time changes, in each and every times or periods, people will have their own choice, priority, etc., etc. Production methods changes, the commodities changes, preferences changes, according to that definitions changes. And these definitions gives the parameters, what is the subject matter of economics, what to be discussed within those parameters, we will see in these definitions. Now we will see the definition of Lionel Robbins, that is scarcity definition, which is being given by Lionel Robbins. Lionel Robbins given the definition of scarcity in 1932 in his book of An Essay on the Nature and Significance of Economic Sciences. Here you need to see. Till then, everyone used to say only economics, but he started saying economics is a science. He wanted to make economics equivalent to other physical sciences or life sciences, not a part of social or social studies. So with this, we can clearly come to a conclusion. Lionel Robbins' way of watching the economics is different from those classical economists. That's why we can call him a neoclassical economist. And in his point of view, economics is supposed to study about the scarcity. Okay, that's why his definition popularly called as scarcity definition. So here we will see first nature. What is the features or characteristics or nature of economics? One part. Second part, significance, importance, or the area which it covers comes under economic sciences. According to him, human behavior, economics is supposed to study the activities of human behavior as relation between ends and scarce means, which have alternative uses. In this one, we will watch some of the important points. According to Lionel Robbins, economics is supposed to discuss about economic activities with human behavior as relation between ends and scarce means. Here see, he already said, ends are satisfying the wants. With the help of scarce means, those are the resources. According to him, all the resources are scarce. And those scarce means, resources, have alternative uses. So in his definition, he focused more on, one is satisfaction of wants with scarce resources or means, and those means have alternative uses, means which have more than one use. Some commodities have more than 1, 2, 10 uses. We use the things in so many ways. So resources have alternative uses. Here we need to understand what are the alternative uses means. This is a chalk made out of calcium. Same calcium can be used to put line on the walls. See, the raw material is same. By conversion into a useful shape, we turn the same resource into different thing. It may be put onto the wall, that is not available to make the chalk. It can be turned into a chalk which is not available to put on the wall. But the raw material is same. See, it is a resource which have alternative uses. For example, a resource, a stick, we can use it as a pointer, or we can put it in the fire and heat the water or cook the food. See, resource is the same, but how you utilize? It is scarce, wood is scarce, and which have alternative uses. If you use it for one purpose, you don't have it for another. At your home you can watch, the wood is used for doors, windows, frames, cot, double cot bed, dining table. Wood is a resource which can be used for so many purposes. Even you can cut it and put it in the fire and cook your food. See, resource is same but have alternative uses. So here very clearly you can understand, those resource, wood, is scarce. See here, end is satisfying the want. The wood is scarce resource which have alternative uses. Any confusion anymore? If you have any, stand up and you can ask me or call me and ask me. Okay. Now we will see the important features or characteristics of scarcity definition, which is given by whom? Come on, tell me someone. Lionel Robbins. Perfect. Lionel Robbins. In which year? 1932. Shabash. Now we will see the features. Wants are unlimited. Yes, human wants are unlimited. When you are a kid, you cried for a tricycle. Now do you ride the tricycle? No, it's not for you anymore because you are grown, you are big. After that, when you are in 5th or 6th class, you started crying for a bicycle, which is being promised to you by your mother, father, grandfather, grandmother. If you get very good marks in 6th class or on your birthday occasion, you will be presented with that cycle, etc., etc. You know, that is the passion in that age. But by the time you reached 8th, 9th, 10th, you started again fighting with your parents to have a motorbike. Now you certainly will, that is a want, which is unlimited. As your age changes, you want the different things. If you are satisfied with one want, another not one want, 2, 3 wants takes its place. So wants are unlimited. That is the main point which is discussed by this scarcity definition by Lionel Robbins. So wants are unlimited. There is no limit for the wants. The day you take birth till the day you die, you get into the deathbed, your wants are going on crapping out. It never ends. That's why it is unlimited wants. Next, means are scarce. All the means which satisfy your want are scarce. Whether it's gold, books, pen, even the time which you put into a frame of time, it is also limited. Per day, 24 hours only. Whether it is Dhirubhai Ambani or Mukesh Ambani or you or me, we all have the same limited period. And that time is actually for some people abundant, for some people scarce. A person who have to complete plenty of activities in a short period, for him it is a very scarce. Everything is scarce. Every resource is scarce. To satisfy your wants, you need time also. So time is also a resource. So here you can see means are scarce. See around you, the fans, everything, they all are scarce. That's why they have a price. So means are scarce. And this scarce means have alternative uses. Here we have seen alternative uses. Each and every resource have an alternative use. If you have the money 100 rupees, you can use it to go to a movie, but that money is not available to purchase a book. You can purchase a book, but that money is not available to purchase a cake, your birthday cake, let us say. If you purchase a cake, you don't have that money, that resource to go to a movie. It have alternative uses. Do you see the recess have alternative uses? Either you can purchase cake, watch a movie or purchase a book. You can satisfy only one want. If you satisfy one want, unsatisfied two wants are going to be there. So wants can be satisfied with one resource. Resource is one. If you use that for one purpose, you have to leave two. If you use one, then you have to forego with other two. So in this way, here you can see wants are unlimited and means are scarce, only one, and this one have alternative uses. So that's why the last one comes, choosing between the wants. What to be satisfied? If it is exams time, you want a pad, you want pens, that time you will prefer to use your 100 rupees to purchase that pad, pens and other material which is going to be helpful for your exam. You are not going to spend the same 100 rupees on a movie or something else, because it is a preference of that particular period, that particular time. So here you can see choosing between wants, because wants are unlimited. So you choose the resource which is scarce to satisfy any one of those wants, that is order of preference. If you have enough money to satisfy, then you will go for one at a time. You will see what is important. Okay, you will start writing the preference. Whichever is more important, that will be given as first priority. That first priority thing is going to be satisfied first, second will be next, third will be latter, fourth will be after that. See, one by one you will satisfy your wants, but due to the scarcity of resources, you have a preference of order to satisfy one want at a time. This definition is a very important definition because it given a turning point to total economics, and it made a science, field of social sciences. Okay. Now we will see the superiority of scarcity definition. It includes all human activities, whether it is desirable, undesirable. All human activities which are related with money, all will be included into the economics, whether it is utilization of drugs, alcohol, charities, whatever. If it is a human activity related with money, then it is part of economics. Okay, so all human activities included into our economics by Leonard Robbins. Who given the scarcity definition? You tell me. Exactly, Leonard Robbins. Next, the focus is on scarcity. According to this definition, all the focus gone on scarcity. According to Leonard Robbins, he says all economic problems are due to the scarcity. If you have a magic wand and if you move it, chup, and you will have the commodity. Or if you have something like a jinn wala lantern, and you just rub it and the jinn comes out and you make a wish and it is fulfilled, then you don't have any economic problems. The building will stand in a day, not day, in flicks. See, no economic problem anymore. All your wishes are going to be fulfilled by the jinn. Is it true? Do you find any jinn? Do you see any magic wand? No, there is nothing like that. It is only stories of Arabian Nights. In real life, all the resources are scarce. So, due to this scarcity, we are facing all economic problems. There are n number of cars, then everyone will have a car. There is a lot of petrol, like water in the oceans, then there is no price for the petrol. But does it happen like that? No, it won't happen like that. All resources which satisfy human wants are limited. That's why we are facing the economic problems. Next one is universality. Universally accepted definition. Everyone accepted it, yes. Whether it is America, Africa or India, we all have accepted that this definition is a perfect definition. It is applicable to everyone, whether the man is single or in the society. If he is only one single person in an island who don't have any contact with anyone, he also faces the problem of scarcity. So here scarcity definition is applicable to societies as well as individuals. Now, economics supposed to be neutral between ends. According to Leonard Robbins, economics should not pass any normative decisions. Normative decisions means this is good, that is bad. This is right, this should not be done. These are all value based judgments or setting the norms, normative science. But according to Leonard Robbins, economics is supposed to be positive science, like all life sciences or physical sciences. What do we say? A leaf is green. Due to what? Tell me, due to what? You should know. You go and ask your botany teacher. Then he will tell you, due to chlorophyll, a leaf is in green color. He tell you only due to chlorophyll, it is in green color. But he don't say it should be yellow color, it should be red color, it should not be green. Does he give any value based judgments or preference based judgment? No, he will give you exact idea, that's it. Here also in the same way, economics supposed to give neutral definitions. It should not give any value based judgments, no norms, only positive. What it is, how it is. This is a stick, that is what it is. This is a normal stick, that is what it is. This is a small chalk paste, that is what it is. That is positively I am presenting as it is. It's not that it should be long, tall. I am not giving any normative basis. So economics also supposed to see what it is as it is. That is being neutral between ends. Next, he is the first person who included services also into his definition. In wealth and welfare, we have seen only materialistic commodities. Tangible are called as commodities. But here he called goods as well as services also comes into the economic activities. They both are resources. He is the first person who considered even my services also wealth. Oh yes, My wealth comes from my services. And most of your parents are government employees or private employees. How they are earning? Through the services only, no? So services also creates the wealth. That is also part of economics. These are the points discussed by Leonard Robbins in his scarcity definition in 1932. So this is the superiority. Now we will come to the criticism. His definition is also criticized by later economists, that is modern economists. First one, he says that welfare definition is wrong. In his point of view, welfare should not be discussed by economics because it should be positive, not normative. Like if you start discussing about the values, then you will say drinking alcohol is wrong, but it is part of economic activity. But what in welfare definition Alfred Marshall said, undesirable activities should not be discussed by economics, but he says everything should be discussed by economics. And particularly he says welfare is not at all a part of economics. But later economists criticized him, saying that what is meant by maximum satisfaction? Indirectly getting maximum welfare. Maximum satisfaction means what? Getting welfare only, no? So how can you say welfare is not a topic to be discussed by economics? So here you can see welfare is also part of study of economics, because we are seeing about maximum satisfaction with limited resources, optimum satisfaction by limited resources. So indirectly Leonard Robbins also discussed about maximum satisfaction and welfare. Second one, ends turns to means. What he says, neutral in between the ends. Here you see, economics should be neutral between the ends, but no, you cannot justify what is end, what is resource, because ends turns to resources sometimes. One end turns to a resource. So resources and ends, it is a cycle. Okay, and the next one is neutral between and normative. According to him, economics is supposed to be positive. It should not give any value-based judgments. But the criticism is, it is not so. Economics is supposed to be positive as well as normative. It is not any one of them. It should see and it should solve the problem. When you only see, problem is not solved, then that science is not at all useful. It is a useless science. To make it useful, you have to see the problem, then solve the problem. Solving the problem is what? Normative. It is coming to the value-based judgment. Next criticism is, this definition is not applicable for dynamic society. Already we had a discussion. According to the times, every want, every wish, everything changes. Resources changes, commodities changes, everything changes. And he forgotten about discussion of that changing, that dynamism, that growth. That's why next oncoming modern economists said this definition is not applicable to changing societies, growth or dynamism. Next criticism is, sometimes not only scarcity, abundance also become a problem. Do you really think abundance becomes a problem? You have a lot of money. Do you have any problem? No. You think there is no problem. But yes, sometimes abundance is also a problem. What is the result of unemployment? Overpopulation. That is abundance of population. Because due to the overpopulation in India, population explosion in India, we have economic problem. We don't have any scarcity of population. We have abundance of population. Due to that, unemployment is the result, and unemployment is part of the discussion of economics. So here you will see sometimes even abundance also a problem. Next we will see changes, dynamism and growth. Mrs. John Robinson, she criticized Leonard Robbins particularly on one thing. Actually all the problems comes out of not utilizing the resources properly. If you utilize the resources properly, then economic problems can be in changing times you can solve. As the times changes, requirements changes and resources also changes to satisfy those wants. If you manage these commodities in proper manner, there won't be any difficulty in solving these problems. Means you need to discuss about changes in the society, that is needs, requirements, anything. Dynamism, that is in the production, in the consumption, the changes should be there, and growth, everything is growing. These all points are missing in his definition. This is the criticism against Lionel Robbins. Okay, with this our topic of scarcity definition is also completed. Now we will go to the next topic. So within this class, as we completed some definitions, we will talk about the problems of economy. After studying these problems of economy, we will see growth definition. That is the fourth definition. Wantedly, I want to put it to a side because these things will give you a inner option that will help you to understand the growth definition more clearly. Because growth definition focuses on distribution, production, utilization of plenty of resources in a different way. Now we will talk about fundamental problems of economy. Economy fundamental problems are mainly not static. They will go on changing. That changing is discussed under fourth definition by Paul Samuelson. But now we will see these problems of economy. First one is what to produce. This what to produce is not so simple. Whether to produce consumer goods or capital goods. The resource to produce these consumer goods or capital goods is limited. If you use this limited resource for capital goods, you don't have the same resource for consumer goods. If you use it for consumer goods, you don't have it for capital goods. So you need to decide whether to produce capital goods or consumer goods. Once if you decide what to produce, then you can decide how much to produce. This we will see in the next discussion. How to produce? Choice of production. Next, for whom to produce? There is one more fundamental problem. How to use the resources? Because already we know resources are limited. We need to use them properly. We should not waste them. These are all question answers we will see here. Once you understand these questions and the answers, then you will understand the fourth growth definition very clearly. Okay, now we will see how to use resources. Next, in what stage is our economy is? Is it is static or changing? Now, these are the questions we are going to discuss in detail. Choice of goods and quantity. So first question answer is that one. Choice of goods, consumer capital. Will are luxury goods or comfortable goods or basic need goods. This all depends on the economical conditions of the country. If it is a developing country, we need to focus on something. If it is a developed country, we need to focus on another thing. If the economy is capitalist, the focus is different. If the economy is socialist, focus is different. If it is a mixed economy, focus is different. So there is choice of goods, what to produce is mainly depends on the economies. Whether it is a low income country or high income country or middle income country. On that these things will decide. Depends. Once it is decided, we will go to quantities. The quantity of production should not be more or less. It should be equivalent to the demand. If the supply is greater than the demand, supply is less than demand, then prices will increase. Supply is less and demand is more. See here, how much quantity to be produced? Demand is more, but the production is less. automatically price will be high. Price will be high. If demand is low and supply is high, demand is low, people are ready to purchase only 10, but supply is more, production is more, and produce 20, then the price will fall because demand is for 10, production is 20, then commodity is more than the demand, supply is more than the demand, price will fall. So that's why the quantity will be decided later when we decide what to be produced in which quantity. If we need more of consumer goods, we will focus on that one. At the same time, we will focus on capital goods too. How much we need. Consumer goods, how much we need. Capital goods, how much we need. According to that, we will go on investing. Okay, next one is choice of technology. This is answer for how to produce. This how to produce is basically preferring in between capitalist method or labor intensive method. In capital intensive method, we use more of capital goods like mega industries, big industries, large scale industries. They all belongs to capital intensive technology. Small scale industries, cottage industries, micro industries, these all belongs to labor intensive technology. Capital intensive technology, labor intensive technology. Keep writing all these terms and read your textbook or material which we give you. Then you will understand all these concepts. If you only listen, if you don't write, if you don't read, then you will forget all these things. So here, capital goods, consumer goods. Here, labor intensive method, capital intensive method. A country which is labor abundant, labor rich like China, India, they are supposed to go with labor intensive technology. The countries like European, particularly West European countries or US, they are rich with capital. Then they will go with capital intensive technology. For a country like India, what is useful? Any one of you just stand and tell me the answer. Yeah, correct. Labor intensive technology is much more suitable to a country like India. Perfect. Now we will go to the distribution of goods. See here, distribution means already we had a discussion. In country, neither all are rich nor all are poor. It is percentage. In some countries, the rich people percentage will be more. In some countries, poor people percentage will be more. According to this percentages, we need to decide whether the commodities which are more useful to poor people to be produced or the commodities which is more useful to rich people to be produced. For example, fridge, motorbike, cars useful for rich people. And of course, it is all according to the situations. For a student, cycle is a basic necessity. For a employee like me, a bike is a basic necessity. For a doctor or an engineer, car is a basic necessity. But for a student, a car is luxury. For me, it's a comfort. See, commodity is same, but as the person changes, whether it is luxury or comfort or basic necessity will change. It is not the commodity, but who is using it decides luxury, necessity or comfort. So here we will see distribution of goods always discussed. Even the poorest people supposed to get what they need. Means production should be even considered for lowest poor section to richest sections. So everything should be considered and production is supposed to continue. That comes under distribution of goods. For whom to produce. Both the people have to be satisfied. Okay, next one is how to use the resources. Here we will complete the course. Optimum utilization of limited resources. And then favorable utilization of limited resources. Actually, all the resources are limited. But how you use them, that makes all the difference. Optimum utilization means you need to produce maximum out of the limited resources. Then only you can satisfy the people who need different commodities. So optimum utilization, this word optimum, it represents favorable, neither max nor mini. It's neither discuss about too many or too less. It discusses only the favorable utilization of limited resources. In this way, you will use less of the resources and you will produce more of the commodities that are going to satisfy the wants of common people. Last one is continuous changes in economy. Is economy static or changing? Yes, we need to consider this continuous changes in the economy. All the time, economy is going on changing. There is no staticness. They say change is static. Means changing is always happening thing. It never stops. Like you never stop changing. From your nursery to your 10th class. From now onwards to future. The change is a constant thing which keeps on going on and on and on. That has to be studied by the economy. Whether the national income is increasing or not, production levels increasing or not, utilization of resources and controlling of inflation, everything comes under this fifth point. Okay, continuous changes in economy. Okay, with this we will complete this particular topic.